Welcome back to the Team to Beat Miami Heat podcast. Doing a live episode today because I'm bored and the Miami Heat are not playing basketball until Friday. It's been a week since the Miami Heat have played basketball. It was All-Star weekend this past weekend, and games have started up for other teams. I think there's more teams playing tonight. Um, but the Miami Heat don't play another game until Friday, and it's been way too long. So I wanted to hop on real quick and just talk about a few different topics concerning this Miami Heat team. So we know that Tyler Hero won the 3-point contest, which was great. He was a first-time All-Star this last weekend, and he only got to play like 7 minutes in the format of the All-Star game in the semifinals. And I'm not a big fan of this new format. I don't like how there was 3 teams plus the rising stars. I also don't like how short the games were. They were only up to 40 points. And I feel like games were like 10 minutes total of actual like gameplay. And the commercials, the entertainment, the comedy, and all that crap was way longer than the game. So unfortunate for Tyler and for Cade Cunningham and other first-time All-Stars who had to play in this unusual format. And I mean, the games weren't super bad themselves. It was more about the intermissions, the breaks, the entertainment was super prolonged. But either way, Tyler Hero coming off the 3-point shooting championship is huge for him. Hopefully that can boost some of his confidence, as he had a rough final week, I think, in the month of February. And he did have a really good game. I think he scored 40 points in the last game, the last loss before All-Star break. But he needs to continue with that momentum and get back on the efficient side, because he's been a little inefficient in his last few games. But overall, Tyler Hero's had a really good season so far, and he's been our best player, obviously, during all of this drama with the Jimmy Butler trade saga, which we all know Jimmy got traded a few weeks ago. So there are a few things I want to bring up relating to that. I want to talk a little more about Tyler Hero and what he said about the trajectory of this Miami Heat's team this season and on. Also want to talk a little bit more about Bam Adebayo and talking about how he can, keep improving, because he's been playing a lot better. We'll look at the numbers, but we need Bam and Tyler to step up in these final 29 games if the Miami Heat want to get into the postseason and avoid the play-in tournament for the third straight season. We got Mason Marsh in here. What's up, Mason? Hope you're doing well. He says okay. So let's get started though first with Tyler Hero. So Tyler Hero was asked about this Miami Heat team if they are a contender, and I'll play the video for you guys. He basically said this team is not a contender, and I have no problem with that. I mean, he isn't talking shit on his team or throwing them under the bus, but it is what it is. They lost Jimmy Butler. They lost their best player. And obviously this team is retooling and are in a youth development right now. So, of course, they're going to have to take a few steps back before they can take a few forward. So we'll get into that in a second. But Florida Boy says, would be ridiculous to tank. Maybe we're not a championship team, but a playoff team for sure. We're just 4 games back of the 5th seed, and who knows exactly. I want to bring that up too. Before I get into that, so we got Legendary, what's going on? Hey, how are you doing? Mason Marsh, I'm a Warriors fan. I live in San Francisco. I'm not a Warriors fan. I'm a Miami Heat fan. But, hey, I'm happy Jimmy came to San Francisco because I get to see him more often than not. But anyway, Florida Boy. So I agree with you. A lot of the fans are saying that we should tank. We're not going to get Cooper Flag. We're not going to fall that far down. But fans are asking, should we tank, for 2 reasons. One, they want to see if we can get a really good pick, obviously in the top 10, if we continue losing. And the other piece is, if we do tank and not make the playoffs, we get 2 draft picks this year. So right now we have 1 draft pick from the Warriors. And so that is going to be probably anywhere from 14 to like the 18 range, perhaps. It depends on how the Warriors finish out the season. And that's 1 pick that we have guaranteed from the Jimmy Butler trade. The other pick right now, if things stood, we would make the play-in, and we would have to make the playoffs. Obviously, it's not just a play-in. We would have to make the playoffs from the play-in. If we did make the playoffs, our first round pick this season goes to the Thunder. We owe the Thunder a first round pick. And so fans are saying we need to tank so that we get that pick back. We unlock that OKC Thunder pick that we owe them by not making the playoffs. So if we don't make the playoffs, we get that pick. We keep our own pick essentially for the 2025 draft this summer. And then we have the Warriors pick. I don't want to tank. Like, I understand it's probably for the benefit and from like a business decision. It makes sense for this team to tank to get more young assets on this team. But I don't like that mentality. That's like a loser quitting mentality. And that hasn't really worked for specific teams. Like, there are teams that have tanked over the past few years. And with the lottery system, there's no guarantee, even having the worst 3 records in the NBA gets you the number 1 pick. The Atlanta Hawks got the number 1 pick this last year. They were in the play-in last season. They were like 9th or 10th. So like anything can happen, but there's no guarantee that you're going to get a top pick. There's no guarantee that you're going to get a game-changing superstar. Maybe in this pick, if it's the number 1 pick and you get Cooper Flagg, but he was saying some stuff. Cooper Flagg was saying that he might return to Duke next season, which I think is BS. But I don't want to tank for a few reasons. Just that's not what winning teams do and good organizations do. That's what the Hornets do, the Wizards do. Even the Philadelphia 76ers were tanking for a while. Like, that's just not what the Miami Heat does. We don't need to tank. We're not a great team. We're mediocre. Like, honestly, like, we're one injury away from being a lottery team. Like, if Bam or Tyler misses significant time, we're screwed, obviously, because those are our 2 best players. But I just don't like that mentality. Florida Boy says we can make a run at the 5th seed. Yeah, we can. With this roster, Wiggins and Mitchell are really good additions. Boston is the best team in the East in a 7-game series, not scared of Cleveland or anyone below them. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm still scared of Boston, honestly, because they have too much firepower if healthy. But I agree with you, Florida Boy. Like, we're only a few games out of the 6th seed. That's the most important thing. We need to focus just on the 6th seed so we can avoid the play-in for the 3rd time in a row. And we're only a few games. Yes, we had a horrible week. We had a horrible week before All-Star break. And we've lost so many double-digit league games throughout the season. Like, if we can clean that up, if Spo can finally get his head out of his ass and figure this out, then we could compete to be in the play-in. And I think that's better to get that experience for this young team. Like, we need to build that chemistry with Wiggins. He's on this team for the foreseeable future with Tyler Hero and with Bam. And we need to see what Davion Mitchell has, because he's a good point of attack defender. He's a good facilitator. He's not the best offensive weapon, but let's see if we can build chemistry and keep this core with Khalil Ware, with Jovic. Hawkes, we can talk about him later. He's having a horrible sophomore slump, but still, I don't think we should tank. And also, the reason why I don't think we should tank is because, one, if we do miss the playoffs, like I said, we get 2 picks. That's great. We get the Warriors pick, we get our own pick back. But the other penalty is, if we don't make the playoffs, the 2 lottery picks that we do owe, which are 1 to the Thunder, which we still will owe, it will just be in the next season in 2026. And then we also owe the Hornets another pick, I believe, in 2027 or 2028. Both of those picks right now are lottery protected. So if we don't make the playoffs, those are not going to be lottery protected. If we make the playoffs, those 2 picks are lottery protected. And we still get the Warriors pick. So we'll have 1 pick in this upcoming draft plus 2 lottery protected picks. I'd rather have that and not tank than have 2 first-round picks this season if we don't make the playoffs and owe 2 unprotected lottery picks. So let's say we don't make the playoffs this season and we get 2 picks. That's great. Fine. We get like the 10th pick and the 15th pick. Cool. But the next seasons, when we owe the Thunder, if we get a significant injury again, let's say someone tears his Achilles like Bam or Tyler or one of our top players, or Jovic is out for the season, that's going to be really hard because we don't have a lot of depth and a lot of scoring talent on this roster outside of Tyler Hero, really, honestly. Like, Bam's been struggling this year. So, and Wiggins, he'll be fine, but right now he's assimilating on a new team. He's only averaging 12 points per game, but at most he's going to average like 18 probably on this team because Tyler is our main guy. Bam is still going to average, 17, 18 himself. And so if one of those guys misses all next year, we could be a lottery team. We could be the 12th, 13th seed, and we will be screwed because instead of getting a top 5 pick, that pick goes to the Thunder. So imagine the Thunder, who's the best team in the NBA, best record in the NBA. potentially wins the championship this year, if someone gets hurt on the Heat next year and we just suck, we owe them a pick. They could get the top pick in the next draft because of that. So for that reason, I don't tank. I don't want to tank. We got number one box gamer. Can you give me a shout out? Shout out to number one box gamer. Hope you're doing well. We got Eva's in the house. Hello. Hi. How are you doing? Florida boy says the Knicks tanked for Zion and didn't get him. Exactly. Good point. Knight says LeBron better than who? Eva says your channel is good. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm not with you, but you don't want to be in NBA purgatory like the Bulls. I agree. See, that's another thing. I don't want to be in purgatory. I want to be an organization that tries hard, that competes, that has a winning culture. Yes, we haven't won a championship in 10 years, but still, how many teams in the NBA have not won a championship ever? Literally have not won a championship ever. 33% of all NBA teams, including the Portland Trailblazers, the Wizards, like those types of teams, the Hornets, they have never won a championship, and we have. So we've won 3 championships in 39 years. Like the Miami Heat are one of the newer franchises in the NBA. Like the Lakers have been around for like 100 years. Like there's teams that have been around for like 70, 80 years, like the Knicks, the Sixers, the Celtics. We've been around for like under 40 years, I feel like, and they have already won 3 championships. So we want to be a winning culture. We want to be a winning organization. So I don't want to tank. That's not in my blood and my DNA. So that better not be in the Miami Heats. Florida boy says Boston is on a different level, but we can compete with anyone else in the East. And not that I'm wishing it, but an injury to Boston would change this series. Yeah, 100%. I mean, they still won a championship with Porzingis out for most of the playoffs. But then again, they had a Mickey Mouse cake walk to the finals because Jimmy was out, Terry Rozier was out, Duncan was hurt. Then the next round, I think they played the Cavs and Mitchell missed a couple games, and they played the Pacers and Halliburton missed games, and then Luka was banged up and unreal. Like for sure, I agree with you, Florida boy, but they're still so tough. Like unless it's a Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown injury, then Boston still should be the favorite on paper, but you never know what happens in the playoffs. Anything can happen in the playoffs. There are so many different variables, and anything can happen. The landscape can totally change. Teams can get hot. Teams can struggle. There can be injuries. You never know what can happen. Mr. Gio's in the house. What's up, Mr. Gio? Hope you're doing well. Florida boy says, Amir, you're one of my go-to channels for Heat content. Keep bringing the Heat, bro. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. Mason Marsh says the Luka and AD trade was crazy. I 100% agree with that. That was insane. I think that's absolutely rigged. Nico Harris and Pelinka are friends. They go way back to the Nike days, I believe, or whatever the hell it was. And I think it's bullshit that they did this in privacy and didn't allow the market to have an opportunity. And there's other execs and GMs from other NBA teams saying that we would have outbid the Mavericks if they had an opportunity. And don't get me wrong, AD's still like a top 10, 12 player, but he's 31. He's made out of literal glass. Last year was the first time in many years he played 70 games. And look at him now. He played 1 game, and in that first game, in his debut with the Dallas Mavericks, he got hurt, and he's going to be out probably for a month. That team is falling apart. Gafford is going to be out for, I think, 6 weeks or so, or more, with an MCL strain, and then they'll also have Derek Lively, who's been out for a while. Yeah, the Mavericks are screwed, so I think that trade was rigged. Carter says, say my name, Carter. Hope you're doing well. So anyway, I want to go back to Tyler Hero real quick. I'll share my screen. So basically, yeah, he was interviewed after All-Star break talking about the Miami Heat's potential. So yeah, 1 second. Let me play this clip for you guys.
It's hard to do. I don't think people realize how hard it is to win a championship, and everything has to fall in line. But I think right now, we started the season with Jimmy saying we're going to try to win a championship. I think obviously, if we're calling a spade, we're not contenders right now. But I think with the team that we're trying to put together, we have a lot of young guys that can really help us win. Khalil Ware's coming into his own. Nico, Jovic, Jaquez. So I think we have a lot of young guys that are starting to, really see where their role can be with the new roster we have. It's
So I people were upset that Tyler Hero was saying, like, telling the truth, basically saying that he shouldn't have said that. But like, why would you get mad about that? Like, I don't understand. Like, he's just telling the facts. We just traded, like I said earlier, we just traded our best player, Jimmy Butler. We clearly saw that Jimmy Butler quit on this Miami Heat team. He, against the Pelicans, against the was it the Pacers or whatever it was, where before he got suspended, he was taking one-legged three-pointers. He was standing in the corner. He was being super passive. He was taking under 10 field goals per game. And you saw he literally didn't give a shit. What is he doing with the Warriors? Averaging 20-plus points per game, averaging like 6-7 rebounds per game, averaging 5 assists per game. Warriors are 3-1 since they've had him in those 4 games before All-Star break. So Jimmy quit on us. So, of course, you lose Jimmy Butler, who's arguably still our best player, and then you're adding Davion Mitchell, Kyle Anderson. You're adding Andrew Wiggins into this rotation. Like, you have a new team. You have new players. You have young guys in the rotation. Kel'el Ware has been amazing. He's been finally playing for the past month and a half. First month and a half of the season, he wasn't doing anything because Spo is stubborn and never plays his bigs or his rookies. And you see him coming into his own a little bit. So, of course, we're starting a rookie at center, and there's going to be some growing pains. Like, Jovic is playing a ton. Terry Rozier is horrible. Like, I hope he's out of the rotation when we go back and play this Friday. He was sick with that stomach bug that went through the entire Miami Heat roster, it felt like. But he's been playing 28 minutes per game, 5th most on this Miami Heat roster, which is just horrible. Like, I don't know what Spo's been doing. He's had a bad year. But yeah, Terry Rozier needs to stop playing. Let's see. Florida Boy says, that's what I meant. Injuries to Tatum, Brown, or even White. He's a Heat killer. Yes, he is. But you went them, I believe, in Hero, Bam, and Wiggins. Mr. Gio says, I think we're going all in for KD in the offseason. I think we might too, which I don't know how I feel about that, but he's still damn good. Even though he's 36, he's averaging 27 a game, shooting 40% from 3. KD is definitely solid, but he doesn't – I don't know if he moves the needle because for what we need to trade for him, Jovic, Hawkes, probably they're going to ask for Kel'el Ware. Like, they're going to ask for probably Wiggins. Like, we're going to have to put a lot of folks out for him. So I don't think we're going to get I don't think we're going to be a contender, honestly. We might have to do something else because who knows? Tyler, Bam, and KD, is that a big 3 that's good enough to win a championship? Who knows? Down by 1, that's my boy Cy. Haven't they been tanking for 8 years? Oh, good one. Cy is my friend who's a Nets fan, kind of, or used to be. Mason Marsh, I'm a Kentucky fan, so I like how Tyler won the 3-point contest. That was awesome. Bam is also from Kentucky as well. Florida Boy says, Tyler, Matt, we're not there right now, but we go on a run and we can get there. These are big 29 games and a lot can happen. Yeah, for sure. Right now it's going to take time, like I said, to assimilate Wiggins and Mitchell into the rotation, and we need to get healthy. We need Bam and Tyler to continue to play well, but also to step up. And so a lot can happen in the East. You never know. Van Lee, what's up, man? That's my boy Van. He says, good evening, Amir. Hope you're doing well, Van. Florida Boy says, I don't want a 36-year-old. This is still a talented team with the new additions. I'd rather wait and hold for assets like a guy like Ant. I don't see him playing his whole career in Minnesota. I definitely agree. I would much rather have someone younger, someone up and coming. But KD is still elite, man. He is a elite offensive player, one of the best offensive players in the NBA history. Philippa says, shut up. Okay, cool. Van Lee says, we got Tyler, his first All-Star. He won the 3-point contest. Time to sell high. I feel like keeping Tyler is just a cute project Miami refuses to stop investing in. What are your thoughts on that? Van Lee brings up the point. Should the Miami Heat trade Tyler Hero while his stock is the highest? His stock and trade value had gone down over the last few years. The Trailblazers didn't want him. Other teams didn't want him for some reason. And again, I mean, maybe it was because of he was stagnant. He wasn't really developing and growing until this season. He has shown that he's not a finished product. He's only 25 years old. He's entering his prime, if you will, around 25, 26, 27 is usually the beginning of the prime for certain players. And the sky, is it the limit for Tyler? Probably not, but still, I don't know how I feel about trading him. It depends on who it's for. Like, if it's an Anthony Edwards type player, like, of course, like, you have to trade him. For KD, I don't know. That's difficult, man. Who would you want to trade Tyler for? Florida Boy says gutting the roster for a small window with a 36-year-old makes zero sense. See, that's the thing. That's the thing you have to think about. You're going to have to gut your depth and your veteran role players like a Wiggins, like a Haywood Highsmith type player to get a Kevin Durant. So we'll see. But if Kevin Durant doesn't sign that extension and requests a trade, then he has some leverage. Like no one's going to have. And if he says he only wants to play for Miami and Phoenix were the two teams he listed initially, then we can maybe get him for a cheaper price. Then maybe it's worth pursuing. Vanley says, every time I'm in on Tyler, he shows me he has reached the ceiling, easily snuffed out by elite perimeter defenders. I get it, but he's also he can't be your 1A. Like he needs to be the number 2 offensively. Probably needs to be number 3, honestly, on a team, like third best overall player still to win a championship. But he could be our second best offensive player. We just need a number 1, like an Anthony Edwards, a Luka, a KD, a Booker, a whoever, a Giannis type scorer to take on that load versus Tyler, because he's getting blitzed, he's getting double teamed, he's seeing really tough defense, obviously, and it's very hard. So, of course, his efficiency is going to be up and down throughout the season. Florida Boy says no to trading Tyler Hero. Vanley says, I would trade Tyler for Ja Morant because everyone wins. Mickey would still have commercial success with Ja. Ja would love Miami lifestyle. Good partner with Bam, averages 27 in the playoffs. There was rumors that Ja Morant would be available for trade possibly this summer, especially if the Memphis Grizzlies don't go far. They're the number 2 seed in the West. They're killing it. Triple J on that team is a 2-time All-Star now. He's having the best year of his career. Desmond Bane is playing amazing. So it all depends on how far they can go. And the West is stacked. The Rockets are up and coming. The Thunder are here. They're really good. You still got the Joker in Denver with Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon. They're still going to be competing. It's going to be tough out there, honestly. It's a gauntlet in the West. So who knows what can happen, but we'll see. So anyway, but yeah, actually, no, I lost my train of thought, but now I'm back on it. So Ja, they were saying that they could trade him, but I think that was all false. Someone from the team came out today and said, we are not going to trade Ja this offseason. So I don't think he's even going to be available. Jordan is better than who? If you're saying LeBron, I definitely agree. Mr. Gio says they're 14-8 without Ja, so probably trading him. Yeah, I understand that sentiment, but someone I think from their team said they don't plan on doing that. But who cares? You can't trust any NBA team, any coach or front office person, the owner, president, GM. You never know. Anything can happen after that Luka trade. Vanley said Ja is one of the most popular players in the league amongst young fans. Memphis also keep his father out of the arena again recently. Mason says, I would say that Ja would go to the Suns. Vanley said Miami misses the boat twice. I would take Ja Morant, but I wouldn't trade Tyler Hero for Ja Morant. Like, how much better is Ja Morant than Tyler Hero, honestly? Like, in a winning perspective, like, obviously Ja is amazing, but still, like, he's having an off year, and I don't know if he could be the best player on a team. Like, I don't think Ja and Bam moves the needle, honestly. Neither does Tyler and Bam. So we'll see. But anyway, the other thing I want to talk about real quick, though, is Bam Adebayo. Bam has had a rough season so far in the opening months of the season, especially. Bam faced an uphill battle. His performances were shitty. They were subdued. He obviously is very talented, and he's one of our best players, but obviously he lost a step this season offensively. Like, his inconsistency shooting. Obviously, the three-point shot was something that he wanted to develop over the summer during the Olympics. Looked really good in the preseason, looked good, and then has been shooting like crap. His hesitancy in the paint has been there this season. His finishing at the rim has been pretty terrible. He's had lapses even on the defensive end, and it's been rough for him statistically this year. And so people have questioned, why is Bam Adebayo a max player? Like, is he worth a max contract? I still think he's worth a max contract because he's still a amazing two-way player. Like Grant Hill said it perfectly. He said, this is a guy who can average 20 and 10, 5 assists. He can guard every single player in the NBA. Literally, he can guard every position 1 through 5. Grant Hill said he's a superstar. I don't think he's a superstar. I don't think Bam is a superstar, especially this season. But you have to give credit to Bam Adebayo. People are talking so much crap on him. He is one of the best two-way players in the NBA. He's still a top 25 player in the league. He's still a top 5 center. He's now a power forward now, but you know what I mean. He's one of the best top 5, 6 bigs in the NBA. And he's still 27 years old. Like, he's in his prime. He could develop and get better. It's just everybody gets pissed off at him in terms of his offense. Like, his offensive ability is what people critique the most, especially this season where Bam is averaging only 16, I think, points per game. So he's at 16.7, 10.1 rebounds, 4.5 assists. But in the last week or so, Bam has been stepping it up big time. So I want to give him his kudos and praise. But let me look at some more comments before I get into that. Florida Boy says, I'm intrigued by Tyler, Bam, and Wiggins. I'm excited for these 29 games. I am too. I'm just excited for them to play on Friday. It's been so long. Desperately need to watch a Heat game. Van Lee said we should have went for Porzingis or after that Cat. They both were traded for cheap. Yes, they were, and I think people were talking about Porzingis and his injury history and him being fragile. Obviously, I'm referencing what Pat said to Tyler as well, but Porzingis helped the Celtics win a championship, and he's obviously still a really good player. Mason says a little bit, but he's not playing. Van Lee says, you're looking at Tyler for Ja 1-for-1. I'm looking at matching contracts and keeping picks. You have to give it to get in this league. Yes, you do. Florida Boy says, Ja Moran and Tyler are in the same tier. I agree. But Tyler is an elite three-point shooter, and Ja is a mid shooter. Ja is elite passing-wise and finishing at the rim. Compared to Tyler Hero, like, he's more dynamic in that sense, but Tyler is a way better shooter. He's getting really good as a playmaker himself. So I think they're comparable at this point. 2 years ago, no. 2 years ago, Ja for Tyler, I'd say hell yeah. But after this season, Tyler's going this way, Ja is going the opposite direction. But anyway, let's look at Bam's numbers real quick. I want to point out something, and hopefully, Florida Boy, you'll appreciate this. Especially if we want to make a run in these final 29 games, we need Bam to continue doing what he is doing right now, which is he's playing very good basketball. So I don't know, it might be hard to see because I'm doing a vertical live versus a horizontal live, but in the month of February, Bam Adebayo in how many games? 1, 2, 3, 4. In the 6 games that they played, or 7 games, he's averaging 23 points per game, 11.3 rebounds, 4.3 assists, 1 block per game. And in the last 9 games, so dating back to the last 2 games, in January, he is averaging 22.4 points per game, 11.4 rebounds, 4.6 assists. He has 7 games in a row with at least 1 3-pointer made. So he was playing like dog shit from 3 and was missing a ton, and his percentages were crap. But over the past 9 games, he has been 12 for 29, which is 41% from 3, which is incredible. So Bam is an important piece. Obviously, he's not a superstar. He is a 3-time All-Star and former All-Star. He is someone who needs to step up. He is our captain. Him and Tyler Hero, they are the 2 guys who are going to take us as far as we can get this season. Without those 2 guys, we're screwed. So I am appreciative of what Bam Adebayo has been able to do to turn this around. Typically, Bam starts off really well, and then at the All-Star break is when he starts sucking. And right now, I hope he's doing the opposite. He started off really slow this season. Next, I hope he starts playing more impactful basketball as a two-way player, but obviously I hope he continues his trajectory where he can average at least 20 points per game. Get back to that 20-point mark. That's all I'm asking for. If you can get 22.3, 23 points per game, that's going to be huge for this Miami Heat team. And I think it's going to be huge getting Andrew Wiggins more reps, more experience within this Miami Heat team and within the system, because he's a good player as well. He's a really good two-way player, really good on-ball defender. Same with Davion Mitchell. So I think they will figure it out. They have plenty of time to make an impact. Like, we're a mediocre team, obviously. I'm not delusional. Like, I agree with Tyler Hero. This is not a contending team. We're not going to win a championship this year, but you develop that chemistry, you get those building blocks in place, and you get that experience, and you obviously grow as a team. You get Pelle Larsson some minutes. You get Khalil Ware more opportunity for him to grow and get better, and you play the young guys, and you see what happens. And Bam and Tyler, like, again, we need to stick with those 2 guys, and they take us. We go as far as they take us, honestly, at this point. So anyway, that's all I have for this live. Wanted to do a quick 30-minute live. The Miami Heat are going to be back this Friday, and they are 25-28 right now, 9th in the Eastern Conference. So that 4-game skid, pretty terrible for the Miami Heat. They were at 6th or the 7th seed at one point a week ago. And so things can change, as you can see, very quickly. And we're playing the Toronto Raptors, who are trash. They beat us once this season. So they have 17 wins. They beat us once, but we play against the Raptors. Should be a very winnable game. And I expect the Miami Heat to pull it off. So they need to get back on the right path and win some games. But anyway, thanks for watching and tuning in. And I'll be live again probably tomorrow, honestly, because there's no game till Friday and it's only Wednesday. So we'll see. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys.